All right, I get this question a lot, and usually when people ask who's your breakout player going to be for this coming year, what they're typically asking you is, what young guy do you think is going to really show up this fall? But and now I'm going to answer the question in a different way. Who's going to be the breakout player for the Georgia Bulldogs in 2022? Now, I'm not going to say Kendall Milton. I'm not going to say Kenny McIntosh. Although I do think Kendall could have a very good year. Obviously, Stetson Bennett is a returning starter. So I'm going to go off the board. This person has not started at Georgia in the last 2 years, but they have been in silver britches the last 2 years. My breakout player for 2022 is Dominic Blaylock. Why? Well, I mean, all you have to do is go back and look at what he did in 2019. He had a pretty good year um, as a guy that was not used a ton until kind of midway through the season. Of course, he got hurt um, a year ago in the 2019 SEC championship game, and that kept him out of the entire COVID season. And in 2021, he only had two catches for 11 yards. That was against the Charleston Southern. But we're talking about a guy who really could be a lot of trouble in the future just with underneath stuff when you got guys like A.D. Mitchell flying over the top or Lad McConkey, same thing. He had 5 touchdowns as a true freshman, one each against all of Georgia's traditional rivals. He never had a game, with the exception of the Arkansas State game and Murray State game. He did not have a league game where he had more than 2 catches. But think about it, 2 catches for 19 yards against Notre Dame, 2 catches for 27 yards against Carolina. He had a 3-yard touchdown reception against the Gators. That 50-yard bomb, which you may or may not remember, against Auburn was one of his 2 catches that day. That was a touchdown. He had a catch for 11 yards against Texas A&M, 2 catches against the Jackets, one of which was a touchdown. That's a pretty high touchdown conversion rate, if there's such a thing. I mean, 18 receptions, 5 of which were for touchdowns. So I think Blaylock never really got going the way that he could have because of the injury, and we're going to see. Now he's listed as a sophomore. I have him listed as a junior, but he's not. He's listed as a sophomore, and that means that this program is going to use as much eligibility of his as they can. That means that the COVID year doesn't count. That was a red shirt, and that means that, well, I guess the 2020 could be the quote COVID year for him. He only played 2 downs, or he only played had 2 receptions a season ago, so that's not considered a year burned. So Georgia's got this guy for a few more years if they want him. Now he's been out of high school. This will be his uh, he is Kenny McIntosh's group. So Kenny has not redshirted at all. Kenny has not taken time off at all. Blaylock, just like Warren McClendon, Xavier Truss, guys like that, Zion Logue, that's the group he came in with, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a few more years that he can go because of the injury and the COVID year and yada yada yada. That COVID year is going to become very confusing for a lot of us over time. Luckily, I keep track of things, and hopefully, I can remember to get that right. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION. That's something you want to get right. Get DAWGSTRUCTION today. This is one of the final copies that I've got for now. I will be at Media Days in Atlanta from here on out this week. I'm not going to be able to. You're going to want to get this now. Order it today. I've run out of copies. So I've got a couple left. Get them today. When you order that, you get the 2022 preview for free. It is included in the packaging. You do not have to do anything. If you want me to sign your copy to you, your dad, your dog, or your girlfriends, let me know and I'll do it. The links are down below if you want to click for DAWGSTRUCTION, as well as our 2022 preview. The links are down below. If you're in Athens, drop by Red Zone. I know they've got magazines. I am only printing one run of these magazines. That's it. Once it's out, it's out. And we're at the pace we're going now, we're going to run out of magazines. So make sure you're getting that today too. When Dominic Blaylock gives you a lot of options, not just at receiver. Remember, he's a punt returner, has very steady hands there. I wish he'd have been the punt returner against Notre Dame. I think you would have seen a more lopsided Georgia win there. But Matt DeBerry, who has worked at Dog Post since 2015 or 14, whenever it is, he's always been a big Don Blaylock guy. And we have not been able to see Blaylock explode back on the scene the way he could. I don't know that he will be the best receiver. Um, But he could be. I mean, you got Kyrus Jackson, who is very good, Marcus Rosemary, Saint, Aaron Smith, A.D. Mitchell, Lad McConkey, and Blaylock. Those are all guys, those 6 guys are returning who have played at least a year of significant downs. You're adding some guys, which we'll see what happens there. But Blaylock in the past had the ability to blow the roof off like he did against Auburn. We saw a lot of the tough catches, the possession catches. He did that perfectly fine as well. So he's a guy that I think you want to monitor. Now, I'll go ahead and talk about a couple other guys that you're going to want to watch. Zion Logue is someone I've talked about for a long time. Now, I've talked about him. I got to see him in high school. I got to see his athleticism when he was playing there. He was big, long, and all that, but it was the interception that he made over his head. That was what impressed me so much. And that you hear Kirby and them talk. He has the capability to jump onto the scene. Now, he'll be a junior. I've got him listed as junior. That could be wrong. But this is his third year in the program, and he is someone for sure on the defensive side of the ball that could sort of emerge. There were some other guys defensively. Ingham Dawkins for sure looks the part. I think that Williams, the defensive lineman, could definitely be trouble. Although Jones as well is another one. Bear Alexander was hurt this past year. But I would say Zion Logue and then Dumas Johnson and Chambliss, man. I mean, when you go watch these guys play in high school, it gives you a very good barometer of where they can go. Of course, we don't see a lot after that because the guys are practicing and not playing, or they're good enough to just start playing. That happens too. We saw that with Chambliss a little bit. Chambliss is a guy that it would not surprise me if he led the team in sacks. I'll say it. He's good at rushing the passer. He's better than Nolan Smith at it. At least he is to me. Nolan, if you're watching, challenge issued. But Chaz Chambliss has the capability to really rush the passer, and you saw that in 2016 or whenever I watched him play as a freshman or sophomore uh, for Carrollton. He's a good player, y'all. In the secondary, that's harder for me to know who could be kind of a breakout player. Obviously, Eric Gilbert is, but that's kind of an easy one. I'm trying to give y'all more under the radar guys. Eric Gilbert could be he should be the comeback player of the year if there's such a thing in the SEC. But um, I hesitate saying he could be the best overall player in the league because he might not be the best tight end in the league. But Gilbert, Milton, these are guys that their time has not come at Georgia yet, and their time is coming though in about a month and a half. When the Oregon Ducks fly into town, that's when you're going to want to be at your best. The game against South Carolina a couple of weeks later will be, you don't want to goof that up either. So Georgia's going to need to be ready to go immediately. I don't think this will happen. I am skeptical this will happen, but we've seen the last 2 seasons, and we've seen three out of 6 with Kirby, that the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season is not the person that finishes at the starter at the end. Could that mean that Carson Beck ascends to the starting position? I doubt it. We'll see. He did play better this spring. I've not heard any negativity in the summer, so we'll just see. But I mean, I think Tate Ratledge is another guy to keep your eye on. Xavier Truss is another one to keep your eye on. These are guys that could wind up starting. Obviously, you've got Mims who stuck around. That's another player that Georgia could use moving forward. But I mean, to me, Don Blaylock is one guy. Logue is another. These are not guys that y'all are talking about on the message boards or here in the comments section. They are people to watch. Logue, for sure, to me, could be a very good player. There are no shortage of good players on this team. Picking which one is gonna explode, that's the hard part at Georgia.